Welcome to week 3 of creating a Twitter client with Android. What we'll be talking about today is background tasks. So we're kind of continuing on the theme that we ended up with last week, where we talked about the importance and the ins and outs and the how-tos of doing long-running tasks, long-running units of work in your code in the background, or or more to the point, off of the thread that is called the UI thread, which is doing all of the display work and user interaction. The importance of taking those tasks off of the UI thread is that it allows your application to remain responsive, which is like it's one of those things that's if it's there, then nobody really notices, but if it's gone, people notice really quickly, and it seems like the app is not trustworthy anymore, and people start to ask questions about how this thing works and why it's not working the way they want, even though it's doing what they asked. It's just like slow and chunky, and then people start to lose trust, and that's not good. So to continue on with that theme, we're going to talk about loading avatars for each tweet. That shows up in the table view there, or the list view. We're going to load them on a thread, and then we're going to talk about some of the issues there with using threads for more than one background task at a time. Up till now, what we've done is just load one thing in the background at a time. But this will be loading. We're going to load a couple things at once, and then we're going to talk about those issues, and then we'll introduce something called an async task, which helps us deal with some of the issues that we'll discover. And then we'll talk about changing or porting over some of the code we've already written to use async task. And then we'll talk about navigation inside of an Android app between the different activities that are available using a menu. And then at the end, we'll post some new tweets, of course, using an async task as well. So some of the new classes that we'll be introducing are highlighted here. We're going to make actually, authorization activity is not new. I'm not sure what the deal is there. I highlighted that one even though it's not new. But the menu helper below it is new. And then all of the classes inside of Com O'Reilly Android OTweet tasks are new. And those are the async tasks that we'll be creating today. Okay, so let's talk about threads and tweets. First, we'll talk about what the user is expecting of our application when they start to use it. Avatars are nice to have. They're kind of like give a little personality to each tweet. Avatars also help the user to kind of understand as they scroll through the list. They're not going to be reading. Nobody goes through and reads every tweet all the way through. I guarantee that's not the way that you actually use an application like this. You kind of scan through, and what helps you to pick out something that you may want to read is the avatar. Hey, that's somebody that I want to hear from. Let me stop and take a look at that. So it's also important that we have the avatars, not only for a little bit of style, but to let the user scan through the information and pick out information that they want to consume a little more in depth. And then we're also going to allow navigation through the application so that we let the user go through and post a tweet and then move back to the home timeline, or go to post again, and to allow space for more activities to be put into the application later. And then we will allow the user to post new tweets. As we go through the code today, we'll run into a few new characters in this drama of Android development. The async task we've already talked about in depth a little bit, and as a pretty good introduction. It's a way to deal with some unit of work in the background without using a thread. And it also deals with, as I said, a couple of the problems of using more than one thread at the same time. And then we'll also deal with the menu, which is the way that navigation works on the Android platform.